Hello everyone, Silent here and welcome back to another Bedrock Edition tutorial. Today I'll be showing you how to build a very simple and easy automatic wither killer in your Bedrock Edition worlds. Since the release of Bedrock Edition 1.13, these things have changed in construction and usage just a little bit. However, they're still really awesome, very reliable, and great ways of killing many wither bosses. Overall, if you want to fight any amount of wither bosses, especially if you play on a multiplayer server or realm, I would highly recommend that you build one of these wither killers in your world. They're safe, secure, and reliable, and overall they will save you a multitude of deaths. So here you can see the wither killer in action, and yes, I'm aware this looks extremely sketchy, but it's actually very reliable and it's been working for like a couple of years now, so you can pretty much trust these things as far as you can throw them. But anyway, so as you can see, the wither is simply trapped inside of an in-city gateway. We will be destroying the actual gateway, so this will become only a wither killer. But as you can see, they take the damage, they die, and then they drop another star in there. If you're playing on hard mode, you might also get a few wither skeletons, and then you can possibly even get some wither skeleton skulls from them as well. There's not really too much else to say about these wither killers, so let's just kind of hop into it. Now, one thing I will warn you about is that you should definitely watch through this tutorial in its entirety before you actually attempt to build any of this in survival, because this does need to be done exactly, and if you mess up one thing, you might have a wither on the loose, and that's probably not going to be a very fun time. Also, if you're playing on a multiplayer realm or server, you should probably have your moderators or admins build this for you, because you will be destroying an in-city gateway, and these things don't really grow on trees. So of course, the first thing that you need for this is an in-city gateway. However, you want to be very cautious and strategic about which one you actually use, because we will be completely disabling this thing and breaking it forever. So yeah, you gotta make sure that you know what you're doing. I would highly suggest that you build this in the outer in-city islands. That way the withers cannot destroy anything. If you use the in-city gateways that are on the main island, then that main island is gonna get completely destroyed by withers all of the time, and it's not gonna be good. You also have to think about how you're gonna get back to the main in-city island. Of course, you can fly there with elytra or build a bridge. However, I would highly recommend that you try and find two gateways that are relatively close to one another. That way you can break one of these and still have easy access back to the main end island. Now is also a good time to mention that the end gateway you want to use for a wither killer should be in the middle of a large in-city island. That way there's very little chance of you ever falling in the void. Alright, so first thing is first, you want to grab yourself an empty locator map and then stand directly on top of the in-city gateway you want to use as a killer. Go ahead and open that empty locator map and we should see this thing fill in. As you can see, we are in the bottom right corner with our little purple icon, and as you know, the top of the map is always going to be north. So right now our little pointer is facing north, and that is perfect. We need to go to the actual west side of the wither killer. That's very important. You need to build on the west side because that is where the actual withers spawn. So if we go and stand right here again, you can see that we're facing this way, and that is indeed west. All right, so that is the west side of the wither killer, and we're gonna expand this going to the north by 1 block. As you can see, that is indeed north. Go ahead and remove that one, and now we need to go out by 3 blocks and then have a little T shape on the end of it right here. This is where we're gonna summon our original wither in order to break that gateway. So we now also need to expand this portal going 1 block to the north as well. So you need to just place some endstone in these locations and in those locations as well. You should probably also go ahead and place some down here and also place a couple blocks on those locations like so. Now, the only way to actually break these in-city gateway tiles as of 1.13 is to use a wither explosion, which means that yes, you will have to deal with a wither. So I'm gonna go ahead and summon in this wither, and we will see it destroy this in-city gateway portal. You will no longer get a tile drop from that, unfortunately. However, while this thing is doing its thing, I'll explain how you should get rid of it. So as you can see, we summon it in, and it's a little bit low, it's being kind of weird, but when it explodes, it's going to actually break that tile. As you can see, the tile is completely gone, and now we have a wither. Now, to get rid of your wither, you can simply let it fall down into the void. That's fine. That would get rid of it. You can go into peaceful mode if you want to, or you can just let it fly off into unloaded chunks. But honestly, fighting a wither on the Outer End City Islands isn't really that big of a deal. You might just need to have a couple dozen totems of undying. Anyway, once you have solved your wither problem, we now have an empty gateway and we're ready to actually build a proper killer. So hopefully that wither doesn't give you too much trouble. I know it's not an ideal situation, but it's pretty much all we got for the time being, and honestly it works just fine. It's definitely worth the single wither fight that you need to do. So once you have an empty gateway like the one that we have right here, of course you still want to go to the west side of the portal, and we just need to build up by 1 block going diagonal on the west side, and then have 3 more blocks out, so 3 in total, and then that little T shape, and you're pretty much ready to go to summon a wither. Of course, make sure to always put the endstone on the bottom of the portal, and always put some endstone on the top of the portal as well. That way the wither summons right there in the middle. If you don't put these blocks here, the wither might escape, and that's not going to be a good time. So make sure you do this properly. These blocks will get destroyed every time you summon a wither, so you will need to put them back. So once you've gone through all of that trouble and all of that stressful stuff, you can go ahead and just place down the soul sand on the little T shape, and then of course place in your 3 wither skulls, and you now have a wither summoned and your in gateway killer, and basically you can just let that guy die. It does take a couple of minutes, but they will automatically die. They're going to be shooting out a ton of different skulls, so everything in this area is going to be getting completely destroyed all the time, and that's why you want to build this super far out here in the end. Now, one thing that you used to be able to do back in the older updates was have multiple withers per wither killer and fight a whole bunch at once. However, that does not seem to be reliable anymore just by using an in-city gateway, so you will have to fight a single wither at a time. Also, another note, you do not want to attack the withers while they're in here. If you attack them with a sword or hit them with a bow or something, then they might also escape. Yes, this is a very precarious thing, but it's still definitely worth it. Now, there's one final thing that you need to keep in mind while the withers are dying in your in-city gateway. You do not want to travel further than 64 blocks from the wither. If the boss bar goes away and you can no longer see the wither, they're going to be in unloaded chunks, and that means that the wither does have a chance of actually escaping the killer when you load them back up. As you can see, we've loaded them up. It doesn't appear that he's escaped this time. However, you want to be aware of this. No matter what's going on, if that guy is in there, you should be safe, and you just need to stay in the area until he dies. Also, be prepared for the wall of wither skulls that you'll find in unloaded chunks. So these things can be a little bit deadly, and they're going to keep on going until they hit something. So yeah, just make sure that you know about this. So as you can see, there are quite a few areas where this thing can fail and a wither can escape, and that's why you really need to watch through this video at least once before you actually try any of this stuff in survival. It's a very precarious thing. However, I think it is still definitely worth it, since the withers on Bedrock Edition are, yeah, they're pretty overpowered, and they're usually very broken as well. So I hope I haven't scared you too much with this particular video. Yeah, these things are kind of sketchy, but again, they are definitely worth it. If you're looking for something to watch at the end of this video, I would highly suggest that you check out my Beacon Factory tutorial, as that thing can get you 78 wither skeleton skulls per minute. It is completely overkill and insane, and definitely worth your time checking out, especially if you just got done building a wither killer in your worlds. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you all so very much for watching. I do hope that you have enjoyed. If you have, please do leave a like on the video, as it helps out the video and the channel. If you're new here and you want to see more stuff like this in the future, of course, make sure to subscribe. And otherwise, I'll see you all down in the comment section and in the next one. Thanks again for watching. And then there was silence.